Yo, what is going on, you disrespectful dreadnought? I've got a wacky Calyrex Shadow Rider VMAX list for you guys here today. So we got the 4/4 Shadow Rider, of course. Another thing you might immediately notice, there's no alchemy in this build, no alchemy VMAX. So we got to fit in a bunch of other tech cards for what's going on in the meta right now. And a couple of them might look a little bit weird, but I'm going to go over them in just a second. So 2 Crobat in here. I feel like this is one of the few decks that still plays Crobat or even wants to run 2 of them. But I feel like this is still a deck where you actually do want 2 Crobat in there. You're trying to set up your Shadow Riders really fast, really aggressively. You want multiple out there. You're not just trying to set up 1 VMAX and then 1 VMAX a couple turns from now. You want, like, ideally 3 Shadow Rider turn 2. So double Crobat there. I've got 2 Articuno in here. So we're not playing Alchemy VMAX, and I know this card really does combo very well with the Alchemy VMAX, but it's also still just really good with Shadow Rider in general to help accelerate energy into play and just make our max guys hit that much harder. And then I've got a Punkaboo in here to help keep those pesky Paths to the Peak out of play because they really are quite pesky. So we got Punkaboo in there to help do that, keep those Path to the Peaks out of play. But you're like, wait, you play Path to the Peak yourself? And that's because Zamazenta is not everywhere, but it's out there, and we have to deal with it. So we play 2 Path to the Peak ourselves to help deal with our opponent's Zamazentas that are out there and very annoying to deal with. So we got a couple Paths to the Peak. We still have 3 training courts, and to go alongside the Pumpkaboo and the Articunos, especially if we open one of the Articunos, we have a Scoop Up Net, mostly here to reuse the Pumpkaboo, but also if we open an Articuno, it's really nice to be able to move it out of the way and get to reuse its Cruel Charge ability. So, and then also a Tool Scrapper. Last tech card I guess we'll talk about. Tool Scrapper, Cape of Toughness is on the Suicunes, it's on the Zacians, it's on the Zamazentas. We've got to reduce that HP that they're giving themselves. So we play a Tool Scrapper in here as well. And I think that is all the interesting cards that we're playing. That's why we're playing them right now. And the rest of it's pretty simple. 3 Boss, 3 Marnie, 4 Research, of course. Some Air Balloons, some Switch, 13 Psychic Energy. And like I mentioned, there are still those training courts in there. And I still rock an Ordinary Rod because sometimes you have a Research and you got a couple of VMAXs in the hand and you're like, I don't want to research these. But if you have an Ordinary Rod, you're a little bit more okay researching them because you'll have the Ordinary Rod to recover them later on. And that's it. This is my current Shadow Rider take to help deal with the shenanigans in the current meta. So let's play some games and let's see if we can't put some of these cards to use. All right, we won the coin flip, and we will be going first here in this first one. 1 horse, 2 horse. We could get out a second horse. We don't have to get out a second horse. We probably have to go with that Crobat because the rest of the hand is dead. No problem, though. Suicune from our opponent. Now that we top decked a Marnie, though, second horse looking pretty good. So let's get a second horse, and let's get swinging turn 2. Calyrex V, attached to the bench. I could Air Balloon the active. They could Marnie us, but I could just hold it, I guess. They might not Marnie us, but if they do, I'm going to wish I had done it. I'm going to go ahead and throw it out there. I don't think they probably play Tool Scrapper. I haven't seen a whole ton of Suicune decks playing Tool Scrapper, so I might not get punished. But if they do start playing Tool Scrapper, don't put this down like I did. Hold on to it for a turn. But yeah, they might not be rocking it, so we might just be fine. Now, if we get really lucky here, we could KO the Suicune on the next turn. That's probably not going to happen. And there's a Path to the Peak already coming out of my opponent, so we have to deal with that now. But who knows, maybe the Pumpkaboo shows itself. And hey, I think that is going to be time for the pumpkin. Go ahead and bump that. And I think I might just go ahead and Scoop Up Net it already so it's back in the deck and I can Fog Crystal for it later. But if it's on the bench, I have to have the Scoop Up Net, which is not as easy to get. So it makes a little bit more sense. The draw is pretty good. Evolution Incense, grab ourselves a VMAX. And then I'm going to double Quick Ball here, I think. Get a little bit aggressive. Get ourselves a Crobat and another V. I want to swing this turn for sure. I don't love giving up the Air Balloon here, but I also don't hate it. So throw this down, VMAX, and then Crobat for 6. Hopefully get ourselves some energy. That shouldn't be too difficult. We have a lot of energy left, and wow, what a draw. Actually pretty crazy. Wow. Yeah, wow. Wow. Gonna play the Incense first. I don't really want to draw into another VMAX per se too aggressively. Underworld Door to my horse. Draw some cards. Evolve again. Underworld Door to the horse again. Draw some cards. Don't really want to throw a training court into play, but we have 2 in hand. So I'm feeling like being a little bit more aggressive with them. Go ahead and attach here. Training court for an energy. Yeah, because we have the 2 in the hand. I'm feeling like being a little bit more aggressive. And we're just going to go ahead and Max Geist, get a big hit in there, clean it up on the next turn, no problem. I also could have maybe retreat it to Crobat, to be honest. Send up the Crobat here. And just kind of leave that hanging out. Like, and it's like, you want to hit it, you can. If you want to KO it, that's fine. Because then if we just get up VMAXs set up from here, we're not going to have anything else really in play that they can pick on later on. So going with that maybe was the better play overall, to be honest. Not because we could get a one-hit KO next turn anyways. So hitting this just means we put a VMAX in the active for my opponent to kind of take advantage of and hit. Which, like, I don't know. I'm not a huge fan of, I guess, setting that up for my opponent, right? So maybe a little bit of a misstep here from me. Maybe should have just chilled, calmed down, cooled out, not been so aggressive. Here comes a cape, so it might have been a little bit more difficult to actually get that KO. So maybe this hit would have ended up paying off. We do play that Tool Scrapper, but we do have to find it as well. You don't just get it just because you want it. Although that would be nice in some situations for sure. I'd love to just get the Tool Scrapper when I want it. But not how it works, right? So I can't have it our way, own way. So it is a Calyrex VMAX deck. They're not rocking the it's not just straight Suicune here or anything like that. It is a Calyrex VMAX deck. Good to know. VMAX deck. Yeah, good to know for sure. Doesn't really change too much of how we'd play out scenarios, I don't think. I don't think it's going to change too much, but good to know. We're going to have to get to that higher HP. We can kind of play towards maybe a big Articuno or something. We'll see. Here comes that Rondo. And we'd love to get a switch here. Move this to the bench. Kind of protect the energy. We might even hard retreat in the end. Ooh, the Articuno here could accelerate a lot of energy into play, actually. Let's go with this Fog Crystal. Gonna grab a Psychic. Let's check. There is one switch in the deck. We could hit it. We'll charge 2. Play the Research. We have the Training Court to recover an energy. After the Research, we got the switch. What a draw. And the Training Court. Or not the Training Court. The Evolution Incense. Training Court, Evolution Incense. Same difference, right? No, not quite. Let's do some Underworld Dooring. Here we go again. Underworld Door. And we're not done yet. Underworld Door again. We have got a lot of energy in play, folks. Training Court for 1. Hatch. Switch. I'm going to go ahead and burn this Evolution Incense as well. We don't need this really anymore. Just play it. And then Max Geist for... I mean, we got 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 energy in play. We're doing a lot of damage, and we know our opponent can't boss next turn because we move this to the bench. They have to Melanie this turn to get an energy in play, or 2 energy in play to be able to attack this turn. So this is looking pretty good. This is looking, yeah, wow, really, really good here for us. Really good. Feeling good about this one. And we'll see what our opponent still has. It's not over yet. We haven't won the game, but I mean, if I had to predict a winner, that would be me. Got the Melanie. They're gonna be able to hit our active here pretty hard, but then we can just retreat into this Calyrex VMAX and then swing with that on the next turn. And then from there, man, it's just looking like we just need 1 or 2 prize cards. This thing is not a VMAX yet, but even if it becomes a VMAX, like, we have so much energy in play, they can't want to KO this VMAX. Where does it even go for my opponent from here? I feel like not very well. I think we've got this one not wrapped up yet. Looking very good. Here comes a Path to the Peak for my opponent. We have the Training Court, and we still have that Pumpkaboo left that we scoop up netted earlier on in the game. So we still have multiple ways to bump Paths to the Peak. You see, I've got these 2 Paths to the Peak in the hand that are pretty much dead. Not very useful anymore. But that's not that big of a deal at all. That's fine. We do not care about that. All we care about is getting this out of play. And then, yeah, they've got it into the Calyrex VMAX now, which we do have 6, 9... We have 11 energy. We could just boss KO the VMAX, and then we KO anything else on the next turn, to be honest. Because we do have 11 energy building up into play right now. We have 11 energy. So I could just go boss KO, and then no matter what they send up next turn, we can KO pretty easily, I think. Should be pretty clean. So we might just go with that. I mean, we'll see what my opponent's not done with their turn yet. They've got a quick shooting to use here. They haven't attacked yet. So they still got some stuff to do. Quick shooting to the bench. But yeah, if they were somehow able to take a lot of my energy out of play on the following turn, we might not be able to KO the Calyrex VMAX, but knowing like right now we could KO it, I feel like we should KO it, but they can't play Melanie and Boss in the same turn like I said last turn, so like if I just KO their active, they can't Melanie and Boss, so we could just KO this on the following turn, but then they could send up like an Inteleon for a turn, plus Marnie, then attach and pass, then go attach Boss, remove energy from play. So I think just KOing this while we can is going to be the better route here. We might get Marnied here. We have no idea what the Shady Dealings is going to do. It's a Tool Scrapper. That's going to be pretty effective. Well, I think we're still in that boss line, though. I think we're still going this boss line, and that'll still set us up really, really well. Because we have, what, 3, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. which is enough. So training court, can't get anything back with the training court, but we can just go with that underworld door and then attach here and then see what we get. Another energy, throw that. I just want to attach it here to make sure everything can move, I think. And then boss gonna KO this Calyrex VMAX. And I think we got him. I think we got him here. Really clean game. And I think we got him here. Yeah. We got the boss. I mean, anything we can KO. Yeah, there's the concede. We did it. Super clean game. Pumpkaboo coming in clutch early on in that one. And then we had it back in the deck with the scoop up net for later. Didn't need it, but it was there just in case. Going first in this one. And it's okay. We need more Vs though. I might Crobat for a couple here just to try and pull out a V. Maybe our top deck will be kind to us and give us a V. We'll see. But we do want to have the chance to attack next turn. And a hand like this doesn't really give us the opportunity to attack on turn 2. So we'll see what the top deck is, of course. Path to the peak. Not what we're looking for. Go out the training court, attach. And Crobat for 2. We need a V with a Roo. And pass over to my opponent. So pretty rough opening turn 1. And it looks like we're up against the Regidrago of my opponents. So we'll see how this goes. There's a couple like things you can do in this matchup to kind of limit the damage output from the Regidrago by using like Astral Barrage or just hitting it not too hard and then kind of trapping it in play. Although usually and generally, I mean, they probably play Super Scoop Up, so we can't be too aggressive with that route. Another thing that we could have tried to set up to make work, but we didn't draw well enough to actually try and do that, is we can like focus down the Cherubies through the Astral Barrage because there's only 50 HP Cherubies in the format. But you see our current setup, we're not going to be able to do that turn 2. We're not going to be able to go Astral Barrage turn 2 with the current setup. So just not happening. Here comes a Marnie though, which, I mean, I didn't have any Vs in hand, so I don't hate it, but I did have the VMAX in the research. To be honest, I would have rather kept my current hand because I had the draw support and everything to work with. Here comes the Marnie, draw into kind of the kind of nothing. So I would have, yeah, like I said, the VMAX would have been nice, the energy to excel, but this does kind of dig us deeper into our deck anyway, so it's kind of almost like the same thing. This is what we would have drawn if we had played the research next turn. So I just would have liked to have had the VMAX in play, but seeing this hand, there's no Vs or anything in here, and I kind of am a little bit more thankful for my opponent with the using that Marnie. And we saw them grab a, what was that? Was that a Applin? Okay, so they play Flapple in here. This thing also only has 40 HP, so once again, Astral Barrage can be utilized to kind of target that down as well. I've never seen the Applin in a Regidrago deck though. So that's curious. That's curious. I'm really curious to see what they're trying to do with that. Maybe it's the Gust Effect one, the one where you flip a coin of heads, bring up a basic Pokemon from your opponent's bench to the active, the Appleton, not the Flapple. We'll see. That would be a very curious inclusion for sure. Our top deck is an energy, which I think I will just go ahead and, well, I could research away because I have the training court in play, and then we can decide what we want to do with it. Actually, always try and take advantage of those little things if you can. Okay, so we got a quick ball here. I'm going to go ahead and give up the Pumpkaboo. I don't think I'm going to need that in this matchup. I'm going to go ahead and grab a Calyrex V. We could do something weird with Articuno this turn, but I don't think that's going to be the route I want to take. I think I'm just going to excel to the bench V, see what we draw. Yeah, Underworld Door to the bench V. What do we get? More research, more energy. An energy. Grab another V. I don't think I want to go for the Crobat here. We just can't attack this turn. I think I'm just gonna have to settle for that and be fine with that. Use a training court here, and then just go ahead and pass over to my opponent. I'm just gonna have to be fine with not attacking this turn. We'd love to attack on turn 2, but sometimes you just don't hit it, don't get it, and gonna have to settle for not attacking her. Yeah, but yeah, like I said, like Astral Barrage turn 2 would have been sick. KO this Applin, KO the Cherubi. They can't set up a Cherim, so they can't attack with Regidrago on the next turn, which would have been sick. A play we can do though is we can actually Astral Barrage the Regidragos. And put 5 on it, and then the Regidrago actually can't KO the Calyrex. So that's like a play we could look at. But like I said, Scoop Up Net should be in their deck. Like, it just should be there. Like, they should just be playing Scoop Up Net. So it makes it hard to want to do that, because then if we just get Scoop Up Netted, they're just going to KO us back and we'll be kind of behind. So I think we might have to just go down the route of VMAXs here and just swing with VMAXs. Maybe we get a Articuno involved at some point, or maybe multiple Articuno. It's going to be harder to involve them now that we're losing our our ordinary rod. Yeah, losing our ordinary rod kind of stinks here because it's going to be harder to get the it's going to be harder to get the multiple Articunos involved because we won't be able to recover them or the energy. I do play 2 Articuno, but getting the energy for them, 3 energy for an attack, where I know the Pokemon's just going to get knocked out immediately, can be a little bit hard to set up and get going. So there's that. Definitely going to make it tough, but we might be able to make that work if we can if we can draw well enough and we don't need the ordinary route. But it looks like I'm probably going to be researching next turn. I could start with an underworld door and see what that draws, and if that does get us a Marnie, that'd be sick because then we get to keep the ordinary route. But I also don't want to Marnie my opponent if they don't really have a very big hand at all. Looks like they're going to get this hit though with the Regidrago. Still super curious as to what this Applin is going to evolve into. So I think we're just going to play to KO their active here. They don't have a whole ton set up. They have a 1-card hand. I think it's just going to be the way to go. So I'm going to go attach this. I'm going to attach this here. I'm actually going to recover the Pumpkaboo as well as the energy. So we have another energy in the deck, and then I'll research away this energy, and then Training Core could recover that one. We need a switch card. We need a couple things. Going to be aggressive about thinning out the deck here. Grab the Rider. And then I will Fallen Crystal. Probably grab the Articuno, makes the most sense. And I can accelerate 3 energy. Hopefully we get a switch card off of 6 cards. 6 cards is a decent amount of cards. Yeah, hopefully this finds us a switch card. There's a switch. Perfect. Yeah, so I could still go with the Astral Barrage play. Well, no, I can't anymore because I didn't attach that one. I could have attached Astral Barrage with that one, I guess. Yeah, we're not going with the Astral Barrage play. Burn this just to get rid of it. Okay. Play the Fog Crystal. Get that last V. I'm not going to put it in play yet. Just going to hold on to it. One more Underworld Door here. And then, yeah, we have the switch, so we'll be able to attack, knock out the active. Could go with the Air Balloon. I am going to Tool Scrapper their 2 Air Balloons, actually. That can make things awkward for them. Training Court, grab myself an energy. And then, yeah, I'm not going to Air Balloon this one because I might Air Balloon this one to move it. And then maybe, yeah, that makes more sense to hold on to it, I think. And then, yeah, Max Ice for the knockout. All right, got rid of the Regidrago. They have a 1-card hand. Training Court is still in play. I could have Pumpkabooed the Training Court, actually. Maybe I should have. I don't have any energy in the discard pile, and I don't need that much more energy to work with for the rest of this game, really, to be honest. So I maybe should have actually got rid of this Training Court to take it away from my opponent, because this could be the difference maker between them attacking this turn or not. So probably should have removed that from play, to be honest. But Tool Scrapper is big there. Gets rid of their pivot. And they maybe only play like 2 Air Balloons, so now they have to like attach an energy to the Jirachi to make it pivot. From this point on, they only have that 1-card hand. So, I mean, just not a lot to work, not a whole ton to work with in the hand. So when I had that hand before with the research and Ordinary Rod, I was talking about maybe trying to use Underworld Door. And I've been in those situations before where I like try an Underworld Door. Like I researched my only draw supporter, and I probably want to see cards off of some kind of draw supporter. And I'm like, I'm just gonna Underworld Door first because I really don't want to discard these other cards if I can avoid it. And then I draw into a Marnie and then play the Marnie instead. But in that situation, it's just not worth going for because they only have a 1-card hand. So it's pretty likely that we'll get the knockout on the active like we did. Don't Marnie them. Don't give them more cards to work with. Leave them at that like limited hand size. Even if we would prefer to not research away the Ordinary Rod in this instance because it gives us more options in the late game to potentially do Articuno plays and stuff. We can still maybe make those work. Go like this. And then, yeah, it sets us up beautifully to potentially have our opponent kind of have just like a not good turn or less of a good turn, a worse turn. Probably could have also Pumpkabooed there, though. Like I said, I probably could have Pumpkabooed that. There's still potential for me to get definitely a decent amount of value out of Training Court, but I still have, what, 2 Training Courts left? So still lots of Training Courts to be done. Here comes a Marnie from my opponent. Okay, so we're going to lose this hand. I could have put the Air Balloon here ahead of time, to be honest. I don't think... They probably don't play Tool Scrapper, but they might actually with, like, Suicune decks and... Suicune decks and... What's the other deck that's been playing it? It's on the tip of my tongue. Suicune decks and Zacian decks playing Capes of Toughness. You mean the Regidrago... hits for that 240. They got a cape. They got a cape. The Suicune organization got a cape. It's going to be out of range of that 240 damage. So I wouldn't be surprised if they do play Tool Scrapper. So I think it was worth holding off on it there, to be honest, and just chilling. There's that fire recover off the Training Court, which once again, like I said, could have pumped good with the Training Court, especially with 2 left in the deck. I probably should have. I wasn't prioritizing my bench space too heavily there. I had 2 bench spaces open, obviously, and I didn't really need keep them any more open. I think it would have been fine if I had just like gotten rid of a bench space. I could have survived. Wouldn't have been that big of a deal. All right, looks like they got the Regidrago though. So it's coming back, and it's going to hit me. And then we're going to try and run into this Calyrex VMAX, run to this one, hit with this one. We're just going to kind of run between VMAXs. I might try and get the Articuno as an attacker at some point. The thing is, the Articuno doesn't KO the Regidrago, so I could hit it for 120 and kind of trap it. But then if they have a Scoop Up Net, which is like, should be played in Regidrago. I played 1 or 2 myself in my list. I forget how many I played, but you want to play like some. And even then, even if they don't Scoop Up Net this, I just put 120 on it. They have 2 bench spaces. They could bench a new Regidrago, retreat into a new one, hit with that one, right? So it's not always safe no matter what. But I'm going to grab the Articuno, and I'm going to start setting it up here. I'm not going to use its ability. I'm just going to excel to it. We're going to try and find that switch card. Quick ball away, training court. Oh, got to click on this, right? Stadium. Got to click done on stadiums. Grab the Calyrex V. I think it's like the card I would like the least, and go ahead and Marnie. I wouldn't mind hard retreating either, because then we would be able to use the training court. So I don't mind if I have to hard retreat. I guess I prefer not to hard retreat overall, but to be honest, the more that I'm thinking about it, it doesn't really matter too much. Just going to burn that. And then, yeah, hard retreat, training court, and then I'll excel to the Articuno. And at some point, I probably do want to set up that Calyrex V, but currently I'm looking at the Articuno as an option to maybe like take out the Cherum. Because if we take out the Cherum and then KO the Regidrago after we would have taken out a Cherum, then maybe they can't set up another Regidrago, and then we can take over the game from there. There's another Calyrex V max, so we definitely want to set up that other Calyrex V at some point. I could have put it in play already, but I don't know, keeping the bench race open for the potential of Punkaboo or Crobat is what I was thinking. I wasn't feeling too pressed to have to get the other Calyrex V in play, especially if we plan on attacking with this Articuno on the next turn. We'll try and get the Calyrex V in play this turn and start loading it up. And hopefully we find once again, we don't need a switch card because we need so little energy in play turn to turn to actually deal with what our opponent's doing. But I guess I would like to be able to move this thing to the bench and keep the 3 energy on it. But finding a switch card at this point should be no problem. If we top deck, play the Marnie, training core for an energy, and use a Underworld Door, we'll be seeing like what, 6, 7, 8 cards in a row. That shouldn't be any problem. But my opponent has a pretty big opportunity to just kind of close out the game before I even have a chance. I mean, I got two V maxes on my bench. Yeah, I got 2 V maxes on my bench with 240 damage each. They got some boss, Pokemon catcher. They could even take out something like that. I played the Zygarde in my build of Regidrago to just kind of have something that can snipe. Because it can be a little bit easier to like play a Research or a Marnie or a Bruno on your turn, and then find all the cards you need for a Pokemon to snipe with for the turn. Then find like having to have the Pokemon, all the energy for it, and then also boss in the same hand. That can be a little bit difficult to pull together sometimes. So I like the idea of having something that can kind of snipe, clean up knockouts. And it doesn't have to snipe for very much. Most of the top V maxes these days, they got that 200 or 320, 310 HP. Eternatus, it's there, but it's not very popular anymore, and it's struggling. So like, you don't have to worry about that 340. We just have to worry about those 320s, which you do 240. You just need to get 80 snipe damage. It's not that much. There's actually nothing really great to snipe with in the format, but the Zygarde isn't bad for sure. The Zygarde isn't bad. Another Regidrago coming out, and my opponent has his Applin, which we still have not seen what that becomes. We haven't seen a Flapple. We haven't seen an Appleton. What is it going to become? I have no idea. Appleton doesn't make a whole ton of sense because Appleton only brings up basic Pokemon, which would be like okay, I guess, but like not great. They do play boss, we know that. They do play Crobat as well, actually. Yeah, we see the boss there. They do play boss, and yeah, they do play Crobat. All right, nothing else too special. Still haven't seen any scoop up nets, but I just don't want to play into a scoop up net route until I feel like I have to. As long as I see something a little bit better than a scoop up net route, or a way to like block my opponent out through forcing them to play scoop up net or have scoop up net, I don't really want to go down that route until I feel like I have to. Because if they just have the scoop up net, and then once again, like I mentioned, even without scoop up net, they have 2 bench spaces open. So if they just like have another Regidrago on the bench and then attack with, they don't need scoop up net to reset the one I damage to kind of lock out of play from its dragon energy attack. So yeah, I don't want to just like go down that route and then have my opponent just be like, all right, I'm just gonna bench another Regidrago, or just have the scoop up net, of course. So yeah, don't want to go down that route if I don't have to. And they're actually setting up the Applin. Maybe they're gonna use withdraw this turn. Do they not have a way to move? Well, that doesn't make a whole ton of sense, I don't think. They do have this energy on the Applin though. What is that gonna become? I'm super curious as to what's going on here with this Applin, as it has an energy on it. There's a pass from my opponent. Okay, so we got the boss. I got the Marnie. They've struggled with the Regidrago setup this time, so I think I want to just boss KO Regidrago, to be honest. So I'm going to go ahead and do this, get an energy, and excel it to my Articuno. Hopefully draw into an out to the V. That would be great. Nope. I don't really want to run out of energy either, because we have 10, so I only have 4 energy left. I don't really want to put that one in play. I think we're just going to boss KO the Regidrago. Yeah, and this might not be correct, but I'm just going to go with it. They struggled to set this one up and get into the active this turn. So they might struggle with it next turn, and the more I KO, the harder it should theoretically be for my opponent to set up Regidrago. So I'm just gonna go ahead and KO this. I could have gone and KO Cherrim, but then this thing only needs a grass energy next turn, and that should be no problem with Training Core in play for them to set up. And none of their other Cherrim pieces are in the discard pile, so I'm assuming they have a Cherubi and a Cherrim left in the deck. Whether they play like a 2/2 or a 3/3 or whatever, like they probably have more outs to Cherrim, just haven't gotten it because as long as you set up a Regidrago to attack, if the Cherrim gets chased, that's when you have to go set up another Cherrim piece. But until that happens, okay, there's the Flapple. This is the Dragon Flapple. I have no idea what this does. I'm waiting for my opponent to put it down so I can read this thing. Let's take a look. If your opponent's active is a Pokemon V, this attack does 160 damage. This attack does 50 damage for each of your opponent's Pokemon in play that has an ability. Oh. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 250 damage for 1 energy. That is not bad. That's not bad. 50 for each of your opponent's Pokemon in play that has an ability. 100, 200, 250. Yeah, wow. For 1 energy. That's not bad. Fighting Tackle, not as good, but the Acid Mucus, that's scary. Here comes some more Regidragos. Yeah, and apparently when they have this thing around here, this is such a super efficient attacker for just 1 energy. So I was like talking about if we take out the Cherrim, they can still like have that Regidrago attack, but apparently they play this Flapple, which for 1 energy basically 2-hit KOs my Pokemon. So that's scary enough. So yeah, definitely glad we didn't go after the Cherrim because they would have had plenty of attackers for a couple turns while they had reset up the Cherrim. That's the good thing. They just like use those other attackers, reset up the Cherrim, and then it's like you never even really chase and KO the Cherrim. And then like you can't go chase if you go, if they attack with this turn, and then we had KO'd the Cherrim last turn, and then they go bench a Cherubi. We're not gonna go chase the Cherubi because then they're just gonna hit us with this thing again, right? So gotta kind of go around it the other way, unfortunately. All right, the Regidragos are back. They got 2 of them. So we're just going to have to hope our opponent doesn't have the Gust effects to kind of pressure us out of this game. And we're just going to keep running between attackers here. Yeah, we're going to have to hope my opponent doesn't have Gust effects to chase down these VMAXs. They're about to hit our active for 250 with this thing, it looks like, or maybe 240 with the Regidrago if they want to keep the Flapple around for later. Whatever they do, they're hitting really hard. Setting up to, okay, so we're going to run to the Articuno. Articuno will take a knockout on probably the Flapple. I could maybe KO the Cherrim at this point, but there's that other Cherubi now, so chasing a Cherrim just feels really bad. So probably not going to do that. I could go with the Astral. No, that doesn't seem worth it either. They're actually running to Cherubi. Do they just not have a hand to... Oh, no. This might be really good for us. Okay. That's really good for us. That's insanely good for us. No energy in here, I don't think. Quick ball away a... Research, I guess. I'm gonna go get this other Calyrex. Start loading that up. I discard the energy and train card it back, but I wasn't feeling like that was the play, to be honest. Underworld Door one more time. I have 1 card left in deck. That's fine. All right, so I'm leaning towards actually wanting to use Articuno here and just leave the Cherubi in the active and maybe just KO the Flapple or the Cherrim. I definitely think that's what I want to do, though. So I'm going to go attach here. Going to retreat. I could even boss the Cherrim. Boss the Cherrim. No, I think I'm just going to snipe. I could boss the Cherrim. How many boss do I have left? 1. I could boss Cherrim to try and trap it in the active because it has 2 retreat costs, and then snipe. But then this thing's going to get stuck here anyways. So I'm just going to Psy Laser. And I'm going to KO the Flapple. I will have to Marnie next turn because I'll have 0 cards in deck. And actually, to be honest, how many switch cards do I have left? I've only used 2. Okay, we got to switch off the prize cards. I was like, how am I going to move this thing? my last card there, though, might be a air balloon. Also, my opponent might KO the Articuno, so that also helps. But if my opponent does KO Articuno, we basically have game set up because then we can go attack with VMAX, and we just win. So if my opponent doesn't KO a 3-prize Pokemon this turn, I think we have this one locked up. We'll see if they got anything different here, if they have any way to go KO a VMAX. If they do KO one of my VMAXs this turn, they will be able to go KO VMAX, and win before I can. But they have to have that, and if they don't have it, then we're in a good spot. I guess there's another reason to keep the boss around, just in case they put down a 2-prizer this turn. And we see their Crobats in the discard pile, and I doubt they're rocking more than one Crobat, because it doesn't really make a whole ton of sense to play more than one Crobat, especially in a deck like this. But I guess they could be running it. Nope, but there's just a concede. They don't got it. And yeah, I think the most clutch card that came into play here was that Tool Scrapper, taking away those air balloons early on. No pivot to work with. They made him have to work a little bit harder every single turn. They started whiffing the attacks. They still had like something set up on the bench usually, but weren't quite able to attack turn to turn. And yeah, ended up being well, I mean, it was still pretty close. If they'd ever got those bosses or something to snipe and KO my VMAXs, it was going to be close, but they didn't, so we get it done. Okay, going first. And like I said, I don't know really if I like going first or second with Shadow Rider. It does feel like going second sometimes leads to better games, because we get to play that draw supporter for the turn, which can help us find, you know, that many more Calyrex Vs, or set up that much better for the VMAXs and so on. And then we get like, yeah, opening hands like this, where it's like we have a quick ball, we get 1V, or most likely gonna have to go get Crobat. Okay, now we can get the V. Path to the Peak, probably not going to do a whole ton in this matchup. I could still throw it out to try and be a little disruptive to my opponent. I don't hate the idea of this. Throwing it out. I think we'll quick ball and energy no matter what, because if they Marnie me, I do want to be able to potentially utilize the if they Marnie me, I want to be able to. If they Marnie me, I want to be able to utilize Training Core potentially if I draw into that. So I do want a Psychic in the discard pile. But if I throw Path to the Peak and play and then my opponent doesn't bump it, could get pretty bad for me. And I'm actually going to hold on to the Air Balloon as well, because it's possible my opponent puts something up in their active. Or if I put the Air Balloon, if I show the Air Balloon to my opponent, a lot of single strike decks play a Tool Jammer. They might more aggressively throw it out, even on something like a Houndour on this off the start, to just try and disrupt my turn 2. So I think it's best to just kind of hold the Air Balloon, not show it to my opponent, and be like, I might have someone to move the Articuno, you don't know, and maybe they don't even think about the Air Balloon. And if they get the Tool Jammer, they might not put it on the active, where they could possibly, you know, disrupt me that way. But this matchup is pretty tough. They do play the Umbreon, which is just really hard to deal. It's really hard to deal with the Umbreon. A super strong card. And yeah, Path to the Peak. They do have to use Crobat to draw cards here, but they did have their counter stadium. So Path to the Peak wouldn't have done a whole ton in the end. It doesn't mean I shouldn't have put it out there, but we see the what the result would have been. All right, here we go. Draw another Psychic Energy. I don't love drawing into another Psychic Energy, and I don't really want to put Path to the Peak in play anymore, because we are looking for our own VMAXs and trying to draw cards that way. So let's go ahead and let's do that. We have 2 energy in the discard pile. I'm going to end up with more there if I'm not careful. I could KO this Houndour. I'm scared of just getting knocked out by this on the next turn. Is there any way for me to really avoid that? I could like not go to the active, but they have the Gust effect anyway, so I think I just want to be aggressive here and actually just go for this KO and kind of hope it works out, to be honest. I think that's kind of just the play to go with here. I don't want to run out of energy, so I'm leaning towards, yeah, getting rid of the research, grab another V. Could have grabbed the Articuno there, I guess, but we really want to set up for really need to set up for more VMAXs, and we don't need the extra damage this turn from the Articuno, so Articuno is something we could get on like the next turn or something. We'll see. But yeah, here comes the Umbreon V. Will it become a VMAX, and will I just kind of get KO'd? And then what do I even do from there? Like, do I even have an out or a route to take? It feels like I don't. They have to get there, so they don't have it yet. Yeah, they need... Oh, no, they do get there with the Moonlight Blade. Yeah, Moonlight Blade knocks it. I completely forgot about Moonlight Blade. So they just need an energy. They actually don't even need the VMAX. Completely forgot about Moonlight Blade. But yeah, Moonlight Blade takes care of us. They just do need an energy, but this does leave them in a little bit more vulnerable of a spot. They'll have 180 HP. Could actually get there, get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 energy. Potentially scoop up net this and get more energy and play off this. 6 is what I would need. So if I get the scoop up net play, I could actually get enough energy in play to knock out this Umbreon V, which I think, I mean, I might as well just go for it, right? Like, if that's my only out here, I might as well just go ahead, see if we get there. We can get the other Articuno and play with some energy, scoop up net this Articuno, get that and play with energy. 3 energy from double Underworld Door, plus attachment for turn. And I think we have enough energy in the deck to do it. Trading Court, Rod would be tough to find and then find the energy off it, unless we like top deck or drew into it off this first Underworld Door, which we do have 3 energy in the hand right now, so I'm going to try and draw that scoop up net. Or I guess I don't really want the scoop up net here. I'm going to try and get into that other Articuno first. And if we can get the knockout here, we have a chance. If we can get this knockout here on this Umbreon, no other Umbreon in play, they are setting up the double Houndoom, but they would need a lot on the next turn. And they're down 3 Urn, actually. I didn't even just saw that right there. They're down 3 Urn, so definitely possible if we can get this knockout. But it is a little bit of a tall order. But there's that Fog Crystal. So that's pretty good. That's pretty good indeed. Underworld Door. And then when you use this, I should have maybe used this first. Okay, there we go. We're going to go Fog Crystal. Grab myself the Articuno. Accelerate 2 energy out of the hand. And then I could Quick Ball this turn right now for the Crobat. I think, well, I can draw 5 cards right now. We need to get the Scoop Up Net, 4 energy, Training Court. There's a Rod in here we could get as well, 2 Fog Crystal. So the energy is there. Finding it is the issue. Finding it's going to be the issue. Finding that one of Scoop Up Net is also going to be tough as well. That's no easy task, but there's a Scoop Up Net. But it doesn't work out great in this scenario. We have the Scoop Up Net, but we don't have another pivot to work with. So this is kind of awkward. Go ahead and Quick Ball away the Tool Scrapper here, I think. Pumpkin. I can grab it and Marnie it to the bottom of the deck. We should probably net it. Oh, man. Do I net it, though? Netting it doesn't feel that good. Netting it doesn't feel that good. I think I have to net it. And then I guess it could Cruel Charge once into play. Which is all I would need. And then I have to get Excel Attach. Okay, so we can go... Let me think for a second, because we need 6 energy. 3... Okay, so we can go Trading Core for 1. Net. Send up this one for now, I guess. Cruel Charge and extra energy into play. And then Marnie, and we need VMAX, Switch Card, and double energy. Let's see if we can get it. Energy, VMAX, energy. No Switch Card yet, but hang on. We're close. This is really close. Evolution Incense, energy. We have 2 Switch Cards in the deck. We are drawing only 2 cards. We're going to go ahead and thin out the deck a little bit more here. We're not with the Punkaboo. With the energy... And then my opponent does have a chance to return knock out the horse, but we really don't have another play here. No Switch Card, so close. Oh my gosh. If we had gotten that, who knows how this game could have gone. Who knows? But we do whiff the Switch Card there, so it's probably going to be an L if I had to guess, to be honest. We can Psy Laser a Houndour, I guess. That's the best play that I see here, I think. To kind of slow my opponent down a little bit more, but then hope this thing doesn't... Well, if it evolves, we lose. So we have to hope it never evolves. So let's go ahead and Psy Laser the Houndour. Boom. Hope the Umbreon doesn't evolve, because if it evolves, we do just lose the game. But that was so close. We were so close there to the play. I didn't think we were going to get there at all, but then we drew the Scoop Up Net, had it to combo with that Training Court to get that +1 energy in play. Then it was, could we get the Switch Card? And no Switch Card for us, but still a really cool play that we almost pulled off. Maybe we'll get them next time. But now it's all on my opponent. Do they have the Umbreon VMAX to take out my Shadow Rider VMAX? If they can't get there, though, if they don't get it, we have a chance here. We need to accelerate a lot of energy into play next turn again. But definitely doable. Definitely possible. We maybe need to find that Ordinary Rod this time around. And maybe even like the Crobat to draw those extra cards. But the energy's in the deck. The energy's there. But there's the well played. So, yeah, I think my opponent has the Umbreon VMAX. Wasn't able to quite get it this time in this game, but it was gonna be tough. Even if we got this knockout, it was still gonna be tough from there. We'd have 3 prize cards left. They have no 3 prize on board that we could have taken advantage of immediately. So it's gonna be tough. Even if we got that knockout, gonna be tough, but it gave us a chance. Would have given us a chance. Really, this line, just knocking out the Houndour there, doesn't really give us a great chance. And yeah, we lose to the Umbreon. This is one of the fears of playing Shadow Rider right now, is a single strike deck going around. It's a tough one for sure. Anyways, guys, that's gonna do it for these games with Shadow Rider. I hope you enjoyed it. I'm still experimenting a lot with the deck. Like this is a very definitely experimental build, but I wanted to show it to you guys to show you that, like, you know, there's a little bit more depth to Shadow Rider than just 2/2 Alchemy VMAX, and that's all you should be playing. I think there's definitely different ways to approach the deck and different ways to tech it out depending on what you're trying to beat or what you're having trouble with. So if you guys want to copy this list exactly, or just take a couple things away from it, the Scoop Up Net, the Pumpkaboo, the Path to the Peak, the Tool Scrapper, whatever, take them, put them in your list to help you out in the matchups you've been struggling with. And I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, give it a like. If you are enjoying the content and you're new here, be sure to subscribe and hit the bell, and I will see you tomorrow.